Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video I've got 3 replays for you in the tier 8 premium tank destroyer, the Iron Rain, which is in fact a 3-shot autoloader. So before I get into this video, just as always, on the top right hand screen you can see that I'm running the equipment and perks for this tank. So I've got optics, camo net and advanced gun lane drive on this tank, and on the perks I've got Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, Silent Driving and Green Thumb. So a predominant setup of camouflage perks for this tank, obviously alongside the camo net, to basically increase this tank's camouflage as much as possible, basically, because this tank does have great concealment, and being one of its strengths, I want to boost that as much as possible. So yeah, the Iron Rain basically, I've titled it Bring the Pain for good reason, because it brings the pain in 2 cents, in my opinion. You've got this fantastic gun, which you have 450, high alpha of 450, 490 should I say, per shot. That's nearly 1500 damage in one clip, which is pretty spectacular. But on the flip side, the other aspect of the pain is it's very slow. The mobility of it is not great. I mean, your top speed is sort of 35 kilometers an hour, and I think your reverse speed is about something like 15. So it's so slow. It really is, and that's what I mean in sense of bringing the pain, is that's the painful part, is getting to those damage areas. And there's some maps where this tank just, it's hard to play. I know a lot of people say, yeah, but you get that with most tanks. I get that, but in the current state of the gameplay as it is, with tanks that are very fast moving, the gameplay is quite fluid, quite fast paced. I feel like this tank isn't as good as what it was, and it's a shame, because it has great potential, but obviously it just needs the right situation to make that potential work. So other good parts of this tank, so it's a good XP earner. It's actually a bit higher than most premium tanks at 115%. I've touched upon the fact it has, does have good camo, and that's 288 meters base. So when you add all sort of like the camouflage perks and everything like that, it really boosts its concealment, to make it even better. So it's got good penetration values as well. Personally, I think especially under 100 meters, you've got 411 millimeters penetration on those premium rounds, which is really good. Obviously, outside of that, it does come down, because with APCR, your penetration values do drop over distance. It's got good accuracy during turret rotation. The accuracy isn't as bad as what it looks on paper. You do have to give the gun a little bit of time to aim in between shots, because it can be a bit derpy every now and then, but it's not as bad as some autoloaders that I've seen in the game. So obviously the bad points, the mobility we've touched upon. The reload is horrendously long, at 41 seconds base. I mean, I think I've got ours down to about 31, or just over 31. So we've done our best to try and mitigate that long reload as best as possible. But like I say, when you're on reload, it just takes forever, and that can be frustrating in itself, because you can see the damage start whittling away. Obviously the slow mobility is, it can just be difficult to get to those positions where you can just sort of milk the damage as best as possible. But you can see there we've won the shots, so we just absolutely slapped the Sheridan for just over 500. So peaks and troughs, I guess, but like I say, getting to that damage is the hardest part. It's got 5 degrees of gun depression, which isn't great. I think you may get a little bit more over the sides, I think similar to the Waffle, but I could be wrong. I imagine you may get only a slightly bit more over the sides. Yeah, 5 degrees of gun depression isn't that great. You got 2.7 second aim time and an intra-clip reload of 2.7 seconds as well. You got 360 meters of view range, which isn't great, but the good concealment obviously does make up for that. And your traverse speed is quite slow, and the power to weight is horrendous. It's like 10.20 power to weight, so yeah, that's not great. And you got 20% fire chance as well, so this thing can potentially get lit up like a Christmas tree as soon as it gets spotted. If it gets hit in the fuel tanks, hitting the engine deck, it's susceptible to getting set on fire, which it's not a great feature for this tank to have. But like I say, saying that, this gun, when it slings, when you're in that position, it is fun and you can make it work. But it's just getting to the damage. That's the unfun part. And I think, like I say, with how this game runs at the moment, its current state, where games are sort of over within about 4-5 minutes. If you're not in that situation or in that area where you can just make the gun sing, you're going to miss out, and it's going to be quite frustrating half the time. And that's, if I'm honest, the conclusion to this tank. That's how I found it. Is very frustrating, because getting to the damage, it's so difficult sometimes, really is. But that being said, we finished the first replay off here on Overlord with 4.3k damage. We picked up the first class medal, so we had a half decent game considering it was a tier 10 game. And I know I spent most of that map sort of talking about the tank, which I generally do anyway in most of my videos, so apologies sometimes if it seems like there's a lot of information overload in the first game. But first replay is always just sort of a teaser as to sort of see how it is, and also perhaps it's also a chance to link up what I'm saying to what's actually happening in the replay. You can see there that if you don't keep up with the damage, the game will run away from you. So that's one thing to bear in mind with this tank, is you really need to keep an eye on the minimap, more often than not, because you need to be aware of how far away you are from the enemy. Is do you need to push up? Just be aware that the tank takes a while to, and if the momentum is with your team, then you need to keep up with the team, because otherwise you are going to miss out on the damage, and you're going to have a pretty disappointing game. So on to the second replay then. We're on Halfaya Pass. Yeah, I think it's Halfaya Pass. Yeah, we'll go with Halfaya Pass. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, sorry. But Halfaya Pass, we're again with. It's not a favourite map of mine, if I'm honest, in most tanks. But we've come up to the usual tank destroyer spawn on this side of the map, where we can sort of focus on the middle of the map, and we snap a shot in there on that VK. That is a very, very lucky shot there. We done well to squeeze that one in. So yeah, we're going to cover the middle. We're also going to sort of keep an eye on the right hand side. Need to be careful of artillery, because artillery does seem to be looking this way. With the Iron Rain, it has absolutely no armor whatsoever, so you will look like you'll look like a steak to artillery, basically, is what I'm saying. And anything that has Hesh rounds, or if you're unlucky enough to be bottom tier, FEs, Averies, they'll all look at you and think, cool, I'll have a piece of that, and they'll just butter you up absolutely no problem. And also tier 6s, even sort of top tier, your tier 6s, tier 7s, particularly if you think of sort of the Dreadnought, the Churchill Averies, they'll also have fun with you. So it's just one thing to bear in mind, that armor is non-existent. So again, you are really relying on that camouflage factor to help your game to stay hidden as long as possible, so that you can, so that you won't get absolutely ruined as soon as you get lit. So we sneak a lovely shot into the cupola of the Marlborough, or the VK168 should I say, taking out that tank for our third kill. We've done 2.1k damage, which is not great, but or pretty average I'd say, but we're taking out 3 tanks. The score's pretty even. We get a nice shot into that defender there. We actually rolled a bit low on that one. I think it was about 403 hit points, so that's a real low roll. But he's now one shot for us. We're back on reload, so again we're just sort of backing up behind this bush, just to sort of keep our concealment as low as possible. Keeping sort of foliage and bushes in between you is always the right thing to do in this tank where possible. And yeah, we're just keeping an eye on that middle. We're just waiting to see if any tanks start poking out. Now there's not really many tanks over the right hand side here. The majority of the tanks are on the left or in the middle, but it's not a problem. I'm going to stay here and I'm just going to sort of just seize the opportunity basically. Then this Kari comes over, who is a one shot, so that's lucky for us. We managed to squeeze that shot in, and now I'm backing up behind the dune. Gonna wait to lose my spot because I was getting targeted there, so my assumption is that there's probably some tank destroyers on the right hand side, which there usually is. But I'm keeping an eye on that defender that I know is a one shot. I want to try and get in a position that I can hopefully get the kill on him. So I'm just moving around to the right on the flanks. But then this SU-130 has decided he wants a piece of me. Unfortunately, I only have 2 in a clip here, and yeah, this is not good because I could have potentially been a one-shot. But artillery comes in clutch there and manages to take him out. So massive GGs to the artillery there for taking out that one-shot SU-130, because I would have probably been toast. If not in one shot, then 2 shots if he'd stayed alive. So I don't usually thank artillery. I'm not a fan of artillery, as most people know. But in that instance, I'm very thankful for artillery to save our bacon there. But now we've got this Italian tank destroyer come around, who doesn't really seem to have noticed that we're here. Manages to snap a shot in, but we've got a full clip, so we can just take him out, not a problem. Now this tier 6 tank destroyer is coming round, and we are one shot to this guy, so we need to get out of here. I'm sort of just letting our team know that I am on reload. Got a heavy tank at the back here who can hopefully help us out. We've also got artillery that's been, that's done a fantastic job of keeping us alive at this point. So I'm hoping that if that tank destroyer comes around, which he has, I'm hoping artillery can possibly get a shot in. But we've decided, going to try and see if I can squeeze a shot in. I didn't. That was very ambitious. I should probably just get back round and let this Tiger 2, I think it is, if he's still in the game, he might well be AFK, but let the tank destroyer get distracted by the Tiger 2, and if the Tiger 2 is not AFK, you can obviously take him out, or we can reposition and we can play off the Tiger 2. I don't know, either one. Oh, he is in game. There we go. So we've got 2 in the clip. I was gonna go round, but I thought, actually, seems there's 2 tanks left. By the time I've sort of swung round, that tank destroyer is probably going to be dealt with. So I'm wondering if I can just actually move and catch him off guard, because the fact that he's not lit here suggests to me that he's moved back to probably where our teammate has just pinged. But no, he's actually moved back to the middle there, so he's been caught out there. He's got a heavy tank coming in, and I'm hoping that we can potentially get into a position where we can get shots in the rear. There's also the one-shot defender left, so I know I can take that guy out with one shot, and I'm hoping to be able to do that. But again, this is the problem. If you're out of the fight, then there's not really much you can do, and you can see here that we've kind of missed our opportunity. And there we go. The Chrysler K actually takes out the defender and the tier 6 tank destroyer. So a bit unlucky there, but if we'd had a few more hit points, then possibly we could have done a bit more. But we do get 5k damage with 5 kills. Ended up the game doing pretty alright, to be fair. So like I say, if we'd had a bit more health at the end there, we could possibly have taken a few more risks, but such as life is what it is. And yeah, we picked up the high caliber and the first class, and yeah, we'll move on to the third and final replay. So we are on province here. We're actually platooned up with Sir Tornado, and we are going to move over to the other side. Province is a decent map, really, to be fair, for this tank, because it's very campy. It's very sort of, you know, it's a good opportunity for a tank destroyer such as the Iron Rain to be able to put plenty of damage in, providing that, you know, light tanks can spot. But luckily we've got Sir Tornado, who is actually, you know, a decent player, and you know, playing a light tank, I'm sure he'll be able to get you know, get some spots. And we see that their light tank is now sort of running out in the middle. I was kind of half tempted to try and see if I can get a shot in, because obviously if we take out their light tank, gives us the advantage if we've got the eyes. He's actually just, you know, driving around a bit nutty at the moment, and he's managed to light us up. We tried getting a shot into that bulk horror, but unfortunately we bounced. We've still got 2 shots left in the clip, and we're just going to make our way up now, rather than sort of, you know, focus too much on the left hand side here. We do see this tank crossing. This poor tier 6 is trying to make his way up to the other side. We do manage to get a shot in. We've got 1 left in the clip. Wanting to see if I can potentially get a shot into this tank that is thinking about crossing, that bulk horror. But he's just gone unspotted, so I've decided, you know what, I'm just going to get on the reload, get up to the original position that I wanted to get to, and start getting some shots into tanks across the other side, or potentially up on this level, but more sort of focused on tanks that are going to be over on the left hand side here. So yeah, let's say Province, a good map for this tank. Not my favourite map overall, if I'm honest. In fact, probably my most hated map in the game, just because it's very stale, very campy, very boring. You know, you just kind of get stuck in one position and that's it. That's kind of, you know, you just got to wait for the opportunities. And we managed to take out the light tank there. I do take a shot for it, but do you know what? For the fact of getting rid of that light tank, who's just YOLOing around like a, you know, like a blue bottle fly, it just helps the team out. You know, that guy was just being a pain for everyone involved, lighting everybody up. So it was the right thing to do. Trying to see if I can squeeze a shot on that tank destroyer. I am getting targeted though, so I do need to be careful. And there we go, take a shot from that tank destroyer, but I do put one in, putting him onto a 1-shot. So for me, that was a fair trade. But we are targeted. We do need to be careful because we're possibly going to take some shots from the other side. Luckily we don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up here. We've got Tornado with us, and I'm letting Tornado know that I am on reload. Now the scores are pretty even still. We are down 2 tanks compared to the enemy team, but yeah, we're still in the fight. We'd still use our camouflage to our advantage. I'm just looking over the other way to see if there was a shot on that tier 6. Tornado manages to get a kill shot onto one of their medium tanks. So again, it's just making the scores real tight. And you see what I mean about Province. It's a real horrible map. It's a hard one to show on replays as well, because it's just, you know, nothing really happens much in between. So apologies guys if it is a little bit of a boring watch at the moment, but you know, unfortunately until Wargaming just decide that they don't want to keep this map in rotation anymore, which is not going to happen at all, then we're forced to be stuck with it. You know, we deal with the cards that we're dealt with. Now we see the striker that is a 1-shot. We managed to get a shot into that guy. Unfortunately, we get RBRT by a tank crossing there, which damaged our engine. And that's what I'm talking about. The engine is, you know, in the front of the tank. It's very susceptible to being damaged, being set on fire, but in that instance being sort of shut down to the point where we're sort of stuck out in the open. Now we're forced to reload here. Again, very tight game, and I'd like to support Tornado if I can, but it looks like he's being pushed by this medium tank. Now we see this bulk horror come in, who's actually gone to the right hand side, just waiting for that reload to come off. We see a tank destroyer over the other side. And yeah, unfortunately Tornado gets taken out there by that huntsman who just went gunning in. And I'm really annoyed because if I was on, if I wasn't on reload, I could have probably taken that guy out in one clip, or at least put him down to one shot where Tornado possibly could have just taken him out. So bit unfortunate, bit frustrating there that we're on that reload, and that's always the case really with auto loaders. But the bulk horror does come out and give us the side of his turret, so we're going to take the shot. We've got this bush in front of us, which is great. It means we can maximise our concealment as much as possible. However, he has gone unlit. But yeah, with just a bit of patience there, he ends up getting spotted, and there we go. We squeeze 2 shots in, getting the kill shot, and we're back on reload again. So it's nice to take out that bulk horror. Again, just sort of kind of makes the game a little bit even. The problem we have now is we have one heavy tank and we have a load of TDs that are just basically going to sit in that spot, I think, for quite a while. So I'm on 361 hit points, which isn't great. I mean, those 2 TDs, well, which one is over the other side actually, but we do manage to squeeze a shot in, so that takes care of one tank that can potentially one-shot us. So but the enemy team, you see, is making silly plays now. This KV3 has decided to sort of come out in the open. It's just not a good play. This is the thing with Province, is those are silly plays. You don't want to be driving out in the middle in a heavy tank at all. Anything slow should just avoid that middle ground, because even in a light tank it's tough. You're probably going to get a shot in light tanks, but heavy tanks, it's just it's a silly play. So my instincts tell me that majority of tanks left are going to be on my side here, and at the back I saw a lot of fire coming from that KV3 obviously did manage to light a tank up in our spawn. You can see there was a lot of firepower coming from this side, so I kind of want to just move up because I'd like to sort of try and spot if I can. The only problem I have is I don't know if my friendly team are in a position, if they're close enough, to be able to get shots off. Now we get lit by this T-34-85, which is a bit frustrating because that kind of gives our position away. It lets the enemy know that we are here in this area. Now we've obviously taken out T-34, which is great. We're down to we're up to our 5th kill, sorry. But there we go. You can see we are getting lit up now. The enemy know where we are, so if all 3 are over here, they could potentially rush me. Now luckily one of them is a Strix farm, so for a Strix farm to rush me, it's not really going to go well for him. But this P43 has popped out and had the slimmest of shots, and that is literally not even aimed in, and that manages to take him out. So we get a little bit of luck there. We've got our top gun now, we're up to 6 kills. But yeah, we really are sort of kind of relying on our team, and luckily they're starting to move now, which is good. So I'm just going to wait really, because I don't want to go spotting up if our team aren't in a position where they can get shots off. Now there is a chance that both his tanks are a one-shot, but yeah, I mean look, we've got the one-shot heavy or medium tank here, but then the Strix gets lit up, so, and he's across the way. Can I get the kill shot? I can't, but there is one tank left. This medium is on a one-shot, but he's right below us. There we go. Managed to get the kill shot, picking up the 7th kill. Got really lucky then, actually, killing that guy's sort of full drop. But we do get 7 kills there with 4.1k damage. Credit to Tornado as well. He comes 2nd on the board. And picked up some really nice silver as well, 188,000, which is good. Only picking up the 1st class and the high caliber. I did possibly think that might have been an ace, but unfortunately it wasn't. But yeah, we had a half decent game, and that's it for the Iron Rain. So there we go, guys. That is the end of the video. You can see what I mean about the Iron Rain. The frustrations of it all kind of outweighs a little bit of the good, if I'm honest. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm sure many of you got the Iron Rain. Do you agree? Do you disagree? How do you find it? If you did enjoy the video, guys, please do like and subscribe because it does help the channel. And as always, I will catch you next time.